Coffee with MBA and Beyond. Today, our focus of discussion is going to be Canadian business schools. And I'm hosting the session with Shantanu, founder of MBA and Beyond, along with Deepika, who will be joining in the second half of the session, who's a Rotman alum. Now, before we begin the session, of course, we have little introductions coming in from Shantanu and Deepika in a bit, but I'm co-founder of MBA and Beyond, and we'll try to keep this session specific to Canadian business schools. It's a close-knit session. It's going to be very little audience. As you are aware, lesser people are applying to Canadian business schools from what we gather with the audience. So feel free to ask your questions as they come to your head. Also, feel free to raise your hands, and Neha would be happy to, or MB and Beyond team would be happy to unmute you. So you can ask your questions as we are going through the session. Meanwhile, before we get started, since it's just 6, 7 of us so far, could you 8 of us? So can you help us understand which schools and deadlines you are targeting? Maybe drop that in the chat window. So it'll give me an understanding on how should we navigate the session going forward. So Ariman, Kriti, Suvos, Atul, please help us understand which deadlines you're targeting and which schools. All right. Are we not targeting any Canadian business schools?
The attendance today is really very low, and I think probably not many are targeting Canadian business schools.
But I'm assuming that if we have you guys here, I'm just waiting another minute, so it'll help me navigate the session better, guys. Which schools are you targeting in the deadlines or maybe intake? Yes, Kriti, please. Neha, can you help unmute Kriti, please?
Hi, I'm so sorry, but your chat box is disabled, so I can't text in there.
Oh, I'm so sorry about that. We will have to moderate that as well. Okay, Neha, can you please take care of that at the technically, because then if candidates have to ask questions, we may have to enable the chat box. Thanks, Kriti, for raising that. But can you also, maybe now you can help us understand which intake round and which schools are you targeting?
Oh yeah, I'll be more than happy to. Thank you for asking. So I am targeting 2 universities. My first choice is Ivy, Ivy Business School, and my second choice is Rotman's Business School. For Ivy, I am trying to apply for September 22nd, which is the closest deadline they have. I have gotten a GMAT exemption, so that's also why I'm speeding things up. On the other hand, I'm aiming for the full-time MBA at Rotman's, and I'm trying to aim for their September, which September is actually September 10th, which is really, really short. And the second one is November. I think the deadline is November 19th. So I'm aiming for that. Idea is hopefully before December, I have like an answer on which university I'm going to, so I can plan accordingly.
Got it. All right. Okay, so that's good to know. And I think Neha is asking that you can all send me a direct message if you're sending in any questions or any answers. Thanks, Kriti. Others, please feel free to chat, and we start off with the session now. So,
and by Neha, guys, we mean to MBA and Beyond.
MBA and Beyond to everyone right now. She's dropping in the message over there. But I think if it's possible, I mean, this is just for the team here. If it's possible for us to open the chat for everyone to see, it helps each other. So let's do that. But yeah, meanwhile, I'll just start off with the session. So, Shantanu, do you want to go ahead?
Quick intro, guys. I'm Shantanu. I'm the founder at MBA and Beyond. Have helped a lot of applicants since it's a Canadian B schools specific session. Have helped a lot of applicants get through Rotman, and one of them is going to be here today. Schulich, Ivy, right? And bunch of other schools as well. Yeah, and guys, I'm really I can see that the attendance is really very low today. So I think it can very well be a closed net session. So even if you guys would like to get unmuted and ask a question over video, please feel free to do so. Just raise your hands, and Neha is gonna unmute you. Right, Paridhi, over to you. Okay. Yeah. So Neha controls everything. All right, guys. Meanwhile, I just want to know from you guys, are all of you applying to Canadian B schools this year? Or, I mean, Kriti, we know about you. How about other guys? I mean, if you guys are applying this year to Canadian B schools, just raise your hands. That would suffice. Okay. Right.
Hi. So actually, I've just started my MBA prep. So I don't know if I'll be able to get in this year or not because I've just left my job like 3 weeks ago. And so, but I'm trying that maybe for the second round applications which happen around November,
Mhm.
if in those 2 months I can maybe prep for GMAT as well and do the SOP essays and LORs and everything. So I saw the ad on Insta and I just wanted to know more about like any info I could gather on Canadian universities because I have some family living there as well. So that is the ideal place where I would like to go to.
Sure, Aryan. And we are going to cover that in this session. And then all of you guys, in next 23 minutes, we'll also have a Rotman grad over here who's completely aware of the current market situation. So yeah, you can also ask all bit of questions. Yeah, Atul. Okay, Atul. So I see you're also applying, and would be great. Neha, if you can unmute.
Some
Yeah, Atul, go
questions,
ahead.
but I'm unable to talk right now. So it would be wonderful if the chat box get open because I'm unable to text Paridhi directly as well. I think that
Yeah,
would be
I got you. I'll take that one up, Atul. That's all right. Thanks a lot. I've just asked the team to unmoderate the session for today because it's a closed net session, and we would like to do that. Also, we want to have if all of you guys chat in the chat section. I'm gonna start off the with the question, Shantanu, right now, and then we'll take all your questions one by one. One of the hot and the burning topic for Rotman this year is that they've taken away the spike
Yeah,
factor question. And for what we understand and what we gather, that beyond that, there are no essay questions that are
yeah,
listed on the application portal. Since it's one of the most burning questions, even on GMAT Club and every candidate that I've been speaking with, they're worried about it. All the candidates that we are working with, of course, how we're tackling that. So maybe we help everyone understand what does that mean for
right.
Rotman's application this year.
Right. So a little context, guys, is I mean, see, first of all, we all of us are aware of the job market, right? There have been videos floating around where there is a job fair, and there are like 1,000 students, and there were only two jobs available. Floated on Instagram, floated also on various news channels. I think Rotman removing, first of all, it's a very interesting question. The spike factor, it was an amazing question, to answer. It was a very different question than what other B schools are asking for. They're removing it, I personally feel, is that they've opened the floodgates, which means the number of applications are going to shot up for sure, right? Probably this could be the reason, right? And the second thing is, indeed, they have removed the essay, right? But still, you got LOR, you have your resume, and then you got these two written responses, right? Where they're going to test you on the fly. Could very well be, for instance, and you'll get like 10 minutes each. I understand a lot of people actually have been arguing that people are using AIs and that's why they've removed it. I mean, then they gotta remove almost every written component. You can't have written component. I mean, if you're because the written component is they're giving you 10 minutes each, right? 10 minutes is a lot of time for AI to come up with any answer, right? So I don't personally think it's because of that. But again, I mean, eventually Rotman, we are also waiting reply from them, an official reply from them, that what it really means. But if you are going to read on the Rotman's webpage, over there they have mentioned that you're going to answer essays. It's just that the essay section is empty on the portal. Like, I don't want to say it's a glitch. Really, I don't want to say it's a glitch. But yeah, it's something which is extremely different, and all of us are shocked. Not gonna deny that, because what is Rotman? Rotman is gonna ask you for your goals, and there are a bunch of short questions, right? And like I said, you have resume, you have LOR, and the written component and the video component, right? But we would love to see the spike factor thing over there, because it was the essay through which the personality comes out. At the moment, there's nothing where the personality comes out. Everyone is going to be dumping professional stuff, right, left, and center. So yeah, let's see, guys. And like I said, we're also waiting a response, official response. And the moment we are going to get it, we'll send it across to all of you.
Got it. Now I'm going to start off with a few questions that we've received, and then if you guys are not able to send me the direct questions, you can send it to MBA and Beyond, and then Neha can send it to me because she's trying to still figure this out. We had a different moderation at the beginning of the session, and maybe we cannot change that in the middle of the session.
We can't.
Yes, so that's what's going on right now here, but we'll try to navigate this. You can send it to MBA and Beyond, and I'll still receive the question. Feel free to raise your hand. So now, what do Rotman, Schulich, and Ivy, Shantanu, really look for in their applicants beyond the scores and the resumes?
Right. I mean, what the schools are looking for is, first of all, clarity of thought. All the three schools, we generally feel that school is going to make us employable, but school already wants to filter out people who they feel are employable. So they are looking for a valid plan, which is really linked with what you're doing at the moment, right? Also, these days, as the market conditions have evolved over the time, right? So one thing which almost every B school and the top B schools are looking forward to in Canada is to not talk about changing your trade. Just talk about whatever you're doing now, right? You're going to have a bigger impact, right? I think that is one thing which B schools at the moment are expecting, right? Because to change a trade, these are extremely difficult times, right? Changing the trade is going to be an issue. So one point is this on the plan, right? Apart from plan, I mean, all the schools have their different values. I mean, they would really want to know what sort of a leadership things you have. And it is very well mentioned on the Rotman's website as well that majority of the students or the applicants who apply, right, may not be leading a team directly, right? So you don't really have to be the star, okay? But you can be a future star. So don't drag your answers in terms of proving yourself that you're the star, right? Instead, focus on that you have the potential of being the star, right? Apart from this, guys, I mean, Rotman also has other values like diversity, inclusion, creativity, right? So these are the few things that Rotman is looking forward to. And by the way, the spike factor had grit, resilience, passion, right? I think so. These are the values that, even though they have removed the essay, but they still value. We know they value these qualities. Schulich also leadership, guys, and teamwork. This goes without saying. But Schulich simultaneously also cares a lot about the community engagement and the global mindset. Ivy, on the other hand, focus a lot on decision making, you being strong in communication and showcasing resilience through challenges. I mean, so these are the few things that these B schools, in terms of qualities, look for. And as far as their essays are concerned, the schools are going to talk about the short-term, long-term goals. Like Schulich and Ivy, they're going to give you good amount of space, 350 and 250 each. Like Schulich giving 350 and Ivy giving 250. And then Ivy is also going to talk about challenge and the lessons that you've learned. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Is there any other thing that you guys want to know?
Yeah, so thanks, Shantanu. I have received some questions. I will take those in a bit. So yeah, long story short, to summarize this year, the job market and looking at the job market situation, if you guys are, and it's especially for the markets where the job market is, worse than the rest, at least this year, try to keep your pivot as minimal. And second most important thing, go deeper for your values and try to align your narrative with the values of the business school, which is a standard answer that we give, of course, to all the candidates applying to all the schools. But this is something new that's coming from Shantanu, and I think we should really be careful of that. I understand we all want to become management consultants and product managers out there, but try to see what is the minimal pivot that you can put out there, especially for Canadian business schools. So assumptions that we're making for how Canadian business schools, especially Rotman, changing how they analyze the candidates or how they read the application is changing, is also in some way or the other related to the job market. But we'll hear more about all of that when Deepika joins in maybe in a few minutes. So we'll discuss that. Now, the question that I've received is not specific to Canadian business schools, so I'll pick the ones that are specific. I have actually started my MBA prep after leaving my job recently, and I'm hoping to get into Rotman, UBC, McGill, Ivy, and maybe second round deadline, but I'm not sure if I have enough time. So, Shantanu, this is not just one candidate. I mean, I've heard candidates who tend to quit their jobs to prepare for their MBA application, or maybe sometimes even, prepare for GMAT because their jobs don't give them either enough time or, bandwidth to focus on their GMAT, because of which they keep on faltering. So I think we can tackle this question and also address, is it a good idea to be doing it? Or, I mean, how should one approach this?
Yeah, so I was today I was having a word with one of the applicants. She's from Malaysia, and she asked me this question that, hey, would you mind if I quit my job? And but she has a family business, so for her it's fine, if she quits a job, and if you have something to showcase, it's fine, what I really mean over here. But if you don't, then guys, in the current scenario, there are a lot of people who have lost their jobs, right? Because of the geopolitical turmoil. And I don't want anyone to be counted in that pool, right? To get counted in that pool, right? And even if you are from that pool, guys, there are ways to talk about it, but just saying I'm not doing anything, I'm preparing for the MBA application, it's not gonna cut through the mustard, if everyone is gonna start doing it. Because see, deal is not everyone can afford it, right? To do so. So B schools also don't encourage this. And again, having said that, there are ways to turn this around, which I mean, I can only discuss one on one.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Shantanu. And then we've got another question. This is also about gap. And even though coming from a candidate I've already spoken with, but so Kushi wants to know, what about the gap years not in education but in work? How feasible is it even to imagine applying to top business schools or tier one universities for accepting you? And what everyone describes as, health armor, family concerns, even if they are real, how right would be to tell them thinking they are considering it as excuses, or maybe you pursued different things during the period of time. So I
Right.
think, yeah, Shantanu, you can take
Right,
that.
right, right.
You've helped a lot of candidates with gap years as well.
Yeah. So, see, Kushi, first of all, this depends on how much of a break you had, right? Like what's the gap, duration of the gap? But still,
Let's say 1.5 years,
1.5 years. How much overall experience do you have?
2.5.
All right. All right. So Kushi, this ratio matters actually. This ratio matters. And right now you're working, right?
Yes, I've started working just this month.
Okay. So you started working and then you had a gap and now you have started working again.
Yes, I already my gap years is over. I've started working again.
Okay. So
Not in the field I was working, so that would be considered because previously because I could not let all of my months go to waste until I'm getting a job into the field which I was doing previously or I hold my experience in. So I just decided to continue with something because I do not want to waste or I do not want to take a risk.
Right, right. And I think Kushi, all of this depends on the narrative that you have, right? And could very well be support the gap could very well be supported through various different means. And what I can do, Kushi, is I can actually get on a one-on-one call to further dive into this and answer. Because I mean, I really on an open platform don't want to talk about it, but yeah, there are 1,000 ways to do this.
Sure, even I would be looking forward to it because I really want to get clarity on my even more questions that I have for you. Thank you.
Sure, and over there I'm going to throw samples at you that how have we in the past successfully defended that. Okay.
Looking
Yeah.
forward. Thank you.
Okay, so just before we do this, Kushi, if I'm not mistaken, I mean, I'm assuming you're the same candidate with 675 on your GMAT, and we did discuss some European business schools earlier in the past, right? If I'm getting you right.
No,
Okay, so this is
I've
another.
never given GMAT.
Okay, got it. So then we have another Kushi Gupta. I'm sorry we got confused with another candidate over here. All right, then you can have a chat with Shantanu for this. Now, moving on to the next question, back to Canadian business schools. What strategies help applicants demonstrate cultural fit to Canadian MBA programs? If there is like a specific strategy, like for European business schools, we always talk about international exposure, global mindset, because they're all, international outlook. That's what the schools are looking for. Is there anything specific that, Canadian schools culturally are looking for?
Inclusivity for sure, and global mindset for sure. And then apart from this, one of the ways that we, when applicants work with us, what we do is we ask them to speak with the current students, and we also help them connect with the current students. What happens is, guys, that every B school has a flavor of the year, right? And this year, this is gonna be like XY, like for example, sustainability is gonna be the flavor of the year, right? And all the things revolve around that. So now if I really have to answer, how can I become a part of this culture, right? Then I should also bring that particular thing in, you know. Next year, it could very well be women in business, right? Or the year after that, you know, it could be any other thing, could be teamwork, collaboration, you know. So this is exactly where, apart from the overall culture that prevails at a B school, it is important to also speak with the current student and try to understand from them what is the flavor of the year. And the current students also know what is the flavor of the next year, because they would see B schools have internal inside, they've started putting posters, for the next year as well. So I think after getting this insider knowledge, is when you should start crafting your answers.
All right, thanks, Shantanu. So since it's specific to Canadian business schools and Shantanu talked about inclusivity, I would also like to build upon it. If you've interacted with, Canadians, have worked, or anything that you might have, I mean, whether you've traveled or it's at work, you've got your manager sitting over there, or you've got a friend somewhere, you'll be able to observe and you'll be able to see that inclusivity is a strong part of their culture as well, even in the conversations that you will make, which is very different from rest of the world. So you will be able to observe, and that's why probably if you generalize culturally what they're looking for, then inclusivity could be something that you need to and you have to bring out in your applications. So I just got to know that the chat is unlocked for all of us. So if you have to drop your questions, feel free to drop them in the chat box so others can also benefit from your question. And maybe like if there's a question running in your head, it's in the other person's head also. So please add a +1 thumbs up or something to that so I know which one to take on first. All right, moving on to the next question, again, specific to Canadian business schools. What are the key differences between Canadian and European MBA programs in terms of access to job market opportunities?
Right. The geography, first of all, for sure, right? I mean, if you're looking to be in Europe and you're doing an MBA from Canadian school, or the other way around, then obviously that's not going to make sense. I mean, guys, to be honest, almost every B school, whatever you study over there, is available online. Is really available online. The major difference, I would say, is your study group. Where what sort of people do you have in your study group? So if you're going to compare, let's say, Rotman with HEC Paris, I think it's going to be equivalent. The sort of exposure that you are going to get. But there's another thing, which is Rotman in general receives a lot of Indian applications, because a lot of Indians are going to apply to Rotman. Whereas HEC Paris has a more, I would say, a distributed class, right? In Rotman, you would see a lot of people from India, China, Pakistan, Bangladesh, right? Whereas HEC Paris attracts a little more geographies. So, and if you compare with INSEAD and LBS, I mean, INSEAD has like more than 100 nationalities in a single batch. So that's going to be the major difference. LBS also has good 80, 90 nationalities in a single batch. So that's another difference, guys. But overall, I mean, if you're really looking forward to get into the Canadian job market, then Canadian B schools are the place for you. Or the other thing where I have seen where I've seen applicants doing is that they really want to be closer to the US market, right? And so what they do is they go to Canada, and as soon as they see good opportunity, they move, right? Now, this is difficult to do when you are in Europe. So another advantage for you, and I think this is one of the major differences, the accessibility to different job market segments and to the US market.
All right, thanks, Shantanu. So yes, I mean geography where you see yourself landing, if it's primarily US also this year, what we are observing, because a lot of student visas got rejected for the US business schools for the 25 intake. I hope you all are aware. Of course, that didn't happen to the Canadian applicants. So that's why the kind of pivot that we've seen candidates are making, they may not directly switch over to Europe if that wasn't their interest, geography of interest to eventually land themselves in. They are targeting Canada because that will give them access to not just Canadian market but also US market when opportunities open up. So that's primarily that. But of course, like if candidates, let's say somebody is looking for access to markets like Middle East, um, all of Europe, UK, all of that, then yes, European business schools are the better option for you to choose, because Middle East itself right now does not have any business school apart from really good ones, like apart from NYU Abu Dhabi. So yeah, access to markets more on the West, US and Canada, then you go for a Canadian business school. So we've got a question from Suvos, and I think we should take that one up now. I'm planning for second MBA having, oh yes, one more thing that I'd like to point out, and also what I'm observing in this cohort of, audience that we have. Whenever you have the lesser number, like people with lesser number of years of experience are still appreciated at Canadian business schools. So we have seen candidates with 3.5 years of experience matriculating to the business schools in Canada versus, of course, you need slightly more years of experience if you're considering applying to European business schools. So let's get on to Tuvos, your question. I'm planning for second MBA having 2.2 years of experience. Initially, I was planning for masters in business analytics, but if going for another MBA with particular focus on business analytics, which MBA can be better, Ivy, Schulich, or others? I think Shantanu, you can take that one up because that's a very common question, especially candidates who have already done a kind of MBA and they think that MBA you have to choose your specialization already or whatever. So do you want to take that one up?
Sure. I mean, so you have 2.2 years of experience. I believe you would have gotten your first MBA done straight away after your undergrad. Correct me if I'm wrong, Suvos. I mean,
Yeah,
overall,
actually, I just did my first MBA after doing my BTech in India. So, and after that, I'm presently having nearly 2.2 years of experience. So, I was initially planning for another master's with particular focus on business analytics. But since a second MBA may be preferred or may not be preferred by employers going forward, so what can be the better option in that case if I have at the focus of having the perspective of data science and business analytics and going toward a consulting role? So in that case, another MBA, can that be a better option, or whether going for a specialization course for the masters, that can be a good way out?
right. So was, I mean, 2.2 years and then going for another MBA. I think you should spend a little more time doing work, gain more experience, gain more insights, and you need to have a really good case of why do you need second MBA. Having said that, all the schools that we are talking about at the moment, they accept, second MBA. I think apart from UBC Sora, they don't accept second MBA in Canada. But yeah, the schools that we
Okay.
actually have been talking, they accept. So that is not the case that they're not going to accept your application, but I think it's more about how strong your story is overall, right? And for which it would be better, that you gain a little bit of more experience and especially showcase, the leadership potential and the insights you have in an industry and why now you want to, like, how about why then why not after another 2 years you want to go for third MBA? You see what I'm trying to say? So eventually you gotta make stories stronger, and that would only come if you spend a little more time, at least another year. I would recommend 2 years, but at least
Okay.
another year working.
Yeah,
All right. Thanks, Shantanu.
fine.
Thanks, Suvos,
Fine.
for your question. Okay, guys, we're pausing for a little bit because we have Deepika who just joined us, and Good to see you, Deepika, after so long. It's been years since we last worked together. Good to see you. And guys, we'll let Deepika introduce herself because her journey has really transformed from where she was prior to MBA. She went to Rotman and now she's in Canada. So we've got a lot of questions for you, Deepika, from the audience today. Over to you.
And hello, Deepika. Yeah, please go ahead. Introduce yourself. Yeah, hello.
Please go ahead, Deepika.
Hi, Praditi and Shantanu. It's really nice to see you after, I think, about like 2.5 years. Yeah, hi to everyone on the call as well. I'm Deepika. I hail from India. Moved to Canada in 2021 to pursue my MBA from Rotman School of Management, University of Toronto, as Praditi mentioned. Before the MBA, I was working as an engineering consultant in the oil and gas space. So a lot of problem solving, a lot of cross-function collaboration and stakeholder management there, but wanted to make a pivot into tech/product. Was a difficult one, I think, because you're changing geographies, you're changing your industry, and primarily also your profile. But super glad that I got the opportunities to, just pursue the right prospects, was able to do that, actually landed an internship at SAP in pre-sales consulting role. It's like called a value advisory role. And then I really liked the practice and I think they really liked me as well. So I continued working with them for the second year of my MBA as well. So I was doing the full-time MBA, but I was also working with them. So that was a good ride. And then finally, I'm working currently in the same space, but with a cloud-based HR services and benefits platform. So yeah, just like a little bit like for everyone's understanding, pre-sales consulting is essentially us helping with the sales of a particular product or solution. That is, you just like translate the solution's capabilities into KPIs and value drivers and, do the financial analysis. But yeah, that's pretty much me. But apart from that, I really enjoy traveling. I love everything coffee. And I think I also love, like, I'm a big foodie as well, so a vegetarian foodie though, but yeah, that's me. Happy to answer the questions that you have for me today.
Thanks, Deepika. You've really come a long way since we last spoke. So I'll bombard you with one of the first questions, which has been a burning topic right now, of course, looking at, the geoeconomic situation. And everybody wants to know what's the job market situation in Canada right now. And you can be brutally honest with the audience right now so they can make the right decision for themselves, whether they are going to go to Rotman this year or maybe like push their plans or whatever your thoughts are.
Well, sure, Paridhi. I will try to be as honest as I can be. I think for the starters, yes, the job market is very brutal. It is not the best market to step in. It's been this way since we graduated. And having said that, I think like I should not be saying that is because I've been fortunate enough to have opportunities and like just to pursue the prospects and like get there. But even where I sit today, like even the organization I am in, and I'm being very, very honest, like there is so much uncertainty that I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And the Canadian market as such, I feel, is just smaller as compared to the US market. So inherently it also becomes a little bit more competitive because everyone, like, it's just not Rotman. I feel like every other graduate from all the other schools are equally smart, like, and they are in the market. But apart from that, there are also like so many other professionals in the market who have like great skill sets. So it is a competitive market to be in. It is, yeah, I'm sorry, but I don't think so. It's like there is like a glossy answer to it. Like me just saying that it's the best market to be in right now, I would not say that. Having said that, I think like the only way to navigate the market is being proactive and just networking your way into it. I think that's helped me. Yeah, and I mean I continue to do that. Like I said, I don't know what's going to happen with my company tomorrow. So I will, like, the only way is like you stay proactive and network, and it helps. It does help in Canada. Yeah, I hope that answers the question.
No, thanks a lot, Deepika. Even we're also looking for the honest answers, that could really help applicants. So thanks a lot for sharing that.
Yeah, and
Just-
as a follow-up on just to understand, Rotman's situation and the network a little better since you've been networking since you graduated. How vast is Rotman's network? Like when you graduate, do you only get access to the business schools network as is, or you also can tap into the whole university's network base, just for everybody to understand a little more.
Yeah, for sure. I think as an Rotman graduate, you can tap into whatever you want. Honestly, like I feel like once you're in the system, and they know that you're from the same institute as you are from, like feel free to like reach out and like tap any network that you want. So there's specifically a group called Rotman Connect, if I'm not like if I remember it correctly, wherein there are all the alums, and it's just not the MBA alums, like just all other alums in one place, and you can just reach out to them. Or there's always LinkedIn, right? Like you can always like look out at like who's at University of Toronto or just like Rotman in general, if that makes sense. And you can reach out to them. And I honestly I feel like they're very, very open to have a chat because you're from the same school, and I have not come across a single person who would not want to have a chat. Like if they obviously have the time, sometimes it's just not about, yeah, it's just like they don't have time and they cannot like fit you in their schedule. But mostly you can tap into anyone and everyone that you want to tap into.
Thanks, Deepika. Meanwhile, of course, there's some questions coming in, but have you heard any stories around, the visa situation in Canada as well? Because we are aware that the H-1Bs and the student visas were getting rejected in the US. But any horror stories like those from Canada as well, if you've heard of or that you'd like to share, just for everybody to be aware of what's going on the other side of the world?
For sure. I don't know, Parati, if I have been that much in touch with the work visa or the student visa, honestly, because like I've been out of the loop for like almost 2.5 years. But I don't think so. There are like specifically when I look at University of Toronto, and maybe other schools as well. It's like Schulich, which is, again, like York and Ivy as well. They're all like great schools, and I feel like I don't think so they would have any problems when it comes to like just giving a student visa out there. And compared to the US, I do feel like Canadian immigration system is way more friendlier in also retaining you. Having said that, I do know for a fact that just obtaining a permanent residency once you graduate and once you're done with your school has become tougher. So I will call that out. I mean, I know of friends who could not apply for a PR even after a year of experience. So they did like a French exam and stuff. I mean, they got to it. No one's been pushed out of the country. But it's just like little things which I think is good to know of before you jump into it. Yeah. Is that things have changed on the PR front, but you can still get it. It's not like it's unattainable. Yeah.
Got
Right.
it.
So actually, I have a question, Deepika. Have you seen your batchmates, or let's say even the year after it, right? The batch that graduated, if you were in touch, moving back to their home country because they couldn't find jobs?
I think, Shantanu, I would say like yes and no. And the reason I say that is like people have relocated. A lot of people I know of, since I said that the job market, for example, the year before us was the best, I think. They had like probably 2 offers per person.
Mm.
When it got to our year, it just became like a little not so nice. I'll give my example as well. Maybe I'll save it for the later. And then because of that, like a lot of people were like, okay, let's explore other geographies. Since they were on work visa, since like the permanent residency, and the work visa holds you up to like 3 years in Canada. So it's not like a rush situation where you just have to like wrap up everything and just like leave, which is I think good if you want that kind of, if you want to be in that kind of headspace and want to have that time. So people have left just to explore other geographies is because the job market was not the best. And they were getting like, I know a couple of people from the batch after us, like, explored like opportunities in Middle East. And they have moved to Middle East. And then I know like a particular person, which is like a friend of mine, he moved to Middle East, like he's with BCG, Dubai. So it's not like things have not happened, but people have chosen it because they wanted to. I don't think so. It has primarily been just because, they were like, okay, now we're done with Canada and like, let's wrap up things and like go. It might have been because they were not able to find a job. That could have been a possibility. But it's more so been, okay, let's explore other geographies because it's just, easier. Why stay here and then like, it's like being very honest, like the living expenses are no joke. Like it's an expensive city to be in, Toronto specifically, if you're living in Toronto. But yeah, so I would say both of those things have happened, but for different reasons. Yeah, I hope that helps answer your question.
Does.
Thanks, Deepika. Thanks, Shantu, for asking that question. And Deepika, we've got a direct question from the audience for you. So I'll read it out loud, even though you can also read it on the chat. Hi, Deepika. Thanks for the insights. What was your inspiration to apply for Canadian business schools like Rotman? Did you also consider other B schools across US and Europe? Would love to know your journey as an applicant.
For sure. I think my journey as an applicant has been with Shantanu and Parithi, so they know it probably more than I do. I think it started with like Canada was initially not a part of the plan. I remember speaking to Shantanu and Parithi, and all I had was like Singapore. I had London in the aspirational schools as well. We did end up applying to Judge, I remember. So I think it started with Europe and Singapore. US, not so much. I am a risk-averse person. I didn't want to get into that, into that entire mess of like visas and like it's not for me. So I did not consider US schools for those reasons, but Europe and Singapore for sure were the ones that I started with. And I think it was Parithi and Shantanu, both of them were like, why don't you consider Canada? It's like, a great, there are great schools out there, and given my profile and everything else. And that's how like I started thinking about Canadian schools. And I also remember that I wanted to actually do Sorter because I mentioned that I wanted to make a pivot into tech or product, and it has like a more evolving, tech. It is like I think a tech friendly city as compared to when it comes to jobs, as compared to what Toronto is. And then I think I was hearing Shantanu mentioning this before I joined before I started speaking, was like Sorter doesn't accept double MBAs. And that was like the case with me, though it was an integrated program. But I remember like reaching out to them and they were like, yeah, it's okay, you can still apply. But Shantanu was like, I don't know, if you apply and they don't take you, then they would not like actually list out the reason. So I think that was a very, very wise advice. So I think all of that really helped me pick my schools. And then it was just like, okay, which one should I do? Should I do Schulich or Rotman? Because I wanted to do like more than a year MBA for sure, since I wanted to make a pivot and wanted to, and I think when you want to make a pivot, I gradually like this is just me thinking that like you want to have an internship. You should have an internship because that's like a great way for you to get into the market. So that was the thought process just behind, choosing between Schulich and Rotman. And then it was more of, okay, like let's target the best school. I'm sorry I'm saying that, but then not that doesn't mean that other schools are not good, but it was just like, okay, let's target Rotman. If it doesn't happen, then we'll target Schulich. But things fell into place, and yeah, I think I'm speaking to you as a
I think
Rotman.
you received interview invite even before submitting the complete application, right? I think you got interview invite in like 48 hours or less than that. Yeah.
Before
I think that was I'm sorry, Parithi was saying something.
before your video interview is what I remember.
That was, I think, like the cherry on the cake. It was like we submitted the application, and I knew I was prepared for the video interview. And before that, I remember getting that email and letting Shantanu know that, hey, like I have received the interview invite. So yeah.
I still remember reading the Spike Factor story that you guys came up with. But Yeah, just in the new news to break for you. I'm not sure if you're aware, Rotman has taken away the spike factor question. So there's a little bit of, this thing in the market, like what are they really going to gauge us on? Because that used to be their, very unique question that they would ask, which was out of the world and was very different from the other business schools. So yeah, I mean the candidates and like everybody's making assumptions how Rotman is going to be really looking at the candidates here on and henceforth. But yeah, so okay, so Prathamesh is appreciating and he's saying that he would love to connect with you on LinkedIn to understand more in detail. So feel free, Prathamesh, to connect with Deepika. So a lot of our candidates here are targeting both US and Canada as a geography, primarily because they want to hedge their bets by not just focusing on the US this year. So I'm going to jump onto the last question. We've got 10 more minutes. And if you guys have any more questions coming through to your head, please feel free to drop in the chat window. So we've got a question around which offers better career prospects in today's scenario, Canada, Europe, or US business schools. Shantanu, do you want to take that one up? And Deepika, you can talk about, your 2 cents, whatever you've been seeing or have friends across the globe.
So it's about the country, which country has better job prospects? Is that the question?
Yes.
Did I get it correct?
Yeah.
Guys, hard one to answer in the current scenario. But if I talk about US, then over there it's not just about job prospects, it's also about visa, right? So I mean, I've had applicants got through Haas last year, and the student visa got rejected. So now Oscar is applying to other schools with us again, and there are a bunch of other applicants where they got through Wharton, the visa got rejected. So let's keep US aside for a while, also looking at the current geopolitical situation where Trump has very specifically mentioned to Google, Amazon, other Apple, other big companies do not hire from a specific geography, right? So it's not about the job prospect, it's more about would you get visa, right? Jobs are still there, in the US. But Canada, I mean, I will leave it to Deepika, right? I mean, she has already mentioned, right? But further, I mean, if she has anything to add, I will leave it to her. But now, as far as Europe is concerned, I mean, even Europe market has been hit badly. The applicants, are applicants who sort of got graduated, right? I think now a lot of them have gotten jobs, but I could see them struggling. I could see them struggling a good amount of time where they were looking out for offers. They were looking out for opportunities, and they were not able to. So job market in general is difficult as of now. Having said that, let's say even if you apply now, you're probably going to start, not probably, you'll get started in 2026, and then depending on the course's duration, 1 year, 2 year, let's say if it's 2 year, you're going to graduate it, you're going to get graduated in 2028. We really hope by 2028 things are fine, guys. 2028 is still like how much, like 3 years away from now, and even if you're doing a 1 year course, 2027 is when you graduate, right? So 2 years from now, we really hope things become better, right? Else no one knows, man. I mean, honestly, guys, had I known, I would have put money in the stock market then, either short or long, right? So no one knows exactly what's going to happen, but as of now, it's difficult, right? Over to you, Deepika, for Canada. What do you think?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Shantanu. I think I would also say like the Canadian market probably is similar to the US market, but it's smaller. The visa situation I would say is better since like obviously if you get like into any of these top business schools, you do end up getting like a 3-year work visa. Like you still have 3 years to find a job. before you are into a position wherein you're like, okay, either I get a permanent residency or I leave the country. Or maybe there are some like companies which would be okay renewing your work visas. So that happens as well. So I don't think so visa is a problem, at least when it comes to Canada, because you still have a lot of time to figure things out. Having said that, the Canadian market is small. Like that's a fact. Like, and I don't want anyone to get into an MBA not knowing that fact. It is a fact. It is small, it is competitive. However, like Shantanu mentioned, there are jobs, there's still jobs. People are still finding jobs. I thankfully am in one currently, knock on the wood. And it's just, I feel like the only way to navigate Canadian market is being proactive and networking. I have not seen, in my own experience, I've not seen anything else working. There are always people who are going to come and like, I know of people who have been struggling to find a job, who have struggled to find a job for a very long time. And I don't think it's on the person. It's just like things don't work out and that's okay. But I would not like, yeah, I would not say like that's the market in general. It's just that things have to work out, everything has to align. So if you do come to Canada, just be proactive, network as much as you can, and hopefully you will land the job you want to.
Yeah.
Sorry
Thanks.
for the long answer.
You already like described the situation also. I think you gave more context. So yeah, I'd like to summarize this as well because in today's world, we're just not looking at the job market, we're also looking at the visa situations in different parts of the world. So do take that into consideration when you're picking your schools, and that is the realistic way to go about it. Also, your long-term goal. Sometimes some of us are looking to move to a country which makes it easier for us to settle down there, while other countries make it difficult. So you have to choose, or you have to pick a country based on that. And yes, lastly, of course, the lifestyle that you choose for yourself, because Canada is very different from US and Europe is very different from both of them. So you have to really look into that. And Prathamesh, I think we also had a long discussion about this, but right now the job markets to look into, or any schools that you're considering, you should explore schools that open opportunity windows beyond the market where they are positioned, like where the schools are in, because you need access to a broader network. And Middle East and Southeast Asia could be potentially a great, places for you to explore business schools at. That includes, of course, NUS, NTU, schools that we've not discussed here, and we're gonna do sessions later on these. And then maybe there's this new school that's coming up in Abu Dhabi. It has come up. I think the first cohort is gonna graduate soon. NYU Abu Dhabi. So these are some schools I think that you guys should look into, since Middle East is the geography that's flourishing at the moment. If you're absolutely not averse to that geography, I think it's a great place to explore and then eventually navigate from there into another market if you're running out of time to go for an MBA, is what I would recommend. So yes, I think that's that. We've been able to answer most of the questions related to Canadian business schools. Thanks, Deepika, for joining us and for your great insights in today's session. Thank you, Shantanu. And Deepika, yeah, we should touch base soon again. Maybe the three of us can have a chat.
Yeah,
Sure.
we should. Yeah.
Thanks, guys. I hope everyone enjoyed the session. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks a
All the
lot,
best.
Deepika, for taking out
Yeah,
time.
all the best for your
Cheers.
applications. Thanks.
Yeah,
Cheers.
thanks all the best.